Hi, how are you? And it's nice to be with you. I'm just going to give you a tarot reading, an energetic reading, and I really feel the need to be doing this because at the moment Uranus has started to go forward. I think I told you this last week. And I know I keep harping on it, but with Uranus or any of the planets start to go either forward or into reverse, they trigger a lot of stuff. And Uranus, of all things, Kali, Phoenix, and the planet of transforming, really triggers areas where we are stuck or we're holding ourselves back. There's been two big areas where Uranus has been really triggering. One has been identity, so areas where there have been issues around your identity, they will be coming up and they will be pointed out to you, and they're there so that you can actually acclimate to them, get used to them, and either cleanse them or accept them and bring them into who you are, or decide this is not who I want to be and move them on. So that's one aspect. The other aspect that very clearly, and it has got to do with identity in some way, but slightly differently, is looking at success. So looking at you from the perspective of what makes you successful. And within that, giving you the opportunity to get rid of things that are no longer serving you and that at one time may have helped you be successful. And a lot of this will be perhaps coping mechanisms, but now it's stopping you from being successful. And it is a real time for us to be fulfilling our potential. So we're really going to be feeling this push. And for those of us feeling this push, you're going to be feeling restless because you've got all this energy and you really just don't know what to do with it. And the reason that you've been giving all this energy and you don't know what to do with it is because there is something that you need to release, a belief that you need to release, or some new behaviors that you need to take in. I'm going to be doing a separate piece because we've been talking a lot about releasing, which is fabulous. But if you read what I wrote in my blog, you'd be aware that releasing is half the story. I mean, it's a fabulous story to release something that's been holding you back or some emotional baggage that we've been carrying forward or really limiting self-belief. It's fabulous. But the big question is, how do we then take this energetic or spiritual change and enact that in the physical realm? And that's where we need to have a change of behavior. Now, for some of us, we've had these beliefs for years, tens of years, 20s of years. Maybe formed when we were children, maybe formed when we were very teenagers, maybe formed when we're adults. And we've kept them with us and they've become part of our MO. They are really often how we've defined ourselves. So it's not just getting rid of the belief, it's actually coming up with some positive behaviors that support the new belief, because you get rid of an old belief, and often what we do with that old belief, because it's very negative, is we reframe it into something that's very positive, which is fabulous. But if you haven't changed the behaviors that went with that negative belief, then you've still got these really negative behaviors, and you can hear my voice. Because often these negative behaviors have got to do with what we say and how we react to situations, which is why my voice has gone. And my apologies for that. So there's something really important I've got to say, and I think it is around these beliefs and around these behaviors. And that's going to be interesting. Plus, also, I've got some clients coming up, so I think one of these clients has got a real issue with speaking up for themselves, or will be revealed when I see them. So just remember that there's going to be a lot of trigger points. It's all going to be about your identity and a lot also about what makes you successful. Now, sometimes those will be intertwined. Sometimes they'll be the same. Sometimes they'll be quite distinct and it'll be either or. Either way, that's just what's going to be highlighted. I've got the Ken Dowling cards here, which is going to be talking about spiritual messages. And because it's energetic, I've got all energetic cards. I've got the Good Tarot, which I've been using a lot, and I've got the Dreams of Gaia, which I, as a tarot deck, I absolutely adore, but it's quite specific in terms of what it works with really, really well. And it works really, really well with energy. Just let me hone in now on the cards and just see, is there anything else? Okay, nothing else from Ken Dowling at this time. Beautiful. So let's see what we get from the cards of Gaia. And I was umming and ahhing around whether this was going to be a professional or personal reading, and I've decided to put the two together. So as you know, our identity is very closely related to our job in many countries. So some of you will be really feeling the need to change your job, change your career, or change something within how you are doing your job or your career. The other aspect of identity in the personal realm that just came in was your role. So you might be looking at your role within the family, your role within the group, your friendship group, and there's something about that, or your role within the relationship, there's something about that you are definitely needing to change. So it's going to take a time to speak out. The other thing, of course, that's happening around you with these crazy energies, because Uranus has been forming some really tight squares and oppositions and conjunctions, and it's a major trigger. So there's been some, I've had people who have had difficulty, this is just around me, making up their mind about something. So there's been, I want to do it, I don't want to do it. So there's been lots of changes about things, lots of decisions being changed quite quickly and for no real apparent reason. So that's always been quite fascinating. So that's been interesting in terms of working with. And you might find people around you are very up for change, and a lot of stuff is changing at the last minute. A lot of things will be changing for the right reasons. So you'll have something in place and then someone will ring up and change something. And when you redo it, it's a better solution. So there's a lot of stuff like that happening quite quickly. I found that everything in the end has actually worked out really positively, but the process of getting there has been through a lot of churn, and that's been really difficult. And trust me, I've had some really quite debilitating things going on. You just have to go with the flow. And if you do go with the flow and you can keep a little bit of a sense of humor about some stuff, even though some of the stuff that's going to happen, if it's anything like I've been experiencing, it's going to really annoy you and can seem like it's going to make you really late for that meeting or late for that appointment. In actual fact, the people who will be there, a lot of them will be okay about you being late, or alternatively, if they cancel that meeting, it was actually a really good thing. So it is working for you, but it just at the time it feels like it's working against you. And this is one of the interesting things we say about being in the flow, and we say about being present. That's really easy to do and comprehend when everything seems really smooth and it's all moving along and it all seems to be working with you. It's really difficult to do when it appears like it's all working against you, but it's not. It's actually there to show you something. And sometimes what it's showing you, I'm going to tell you now, is completely out of left field, and that's Uranus. That is so Uranus. So let's have a look what we've got down here. Very, very nice. We've got the Five of Earth, which is the Five of Pentacles. Now, have a good look at this, and you see you've got a shadow figure and someone that's dominant, and you've got a pack of cards, and the pack of cards, interestingly enough, at the front is an ace. This 5 is a change card, and you see the person in the background is really, really not happy. Now, it looks like it's male, female. The thing to be aware of in here is that it's actually looking at bringing yin-yang, two parts, can you see? Two parts of you together. So there's this dominant part of you that you've been showing everyone, that you've been very comfortable with, but it's also now bringing that together. And I think that sits very nicely with what I said about Uranus triggering awakening issues and breakthrough points around identity and also around success. We've got some really interesting cards coming through. We've got the Six of Air. Look at that again. Can you see black and white? So we're seeing yin and yang. The other interesting thing about this particular time, it's true for Buddhism and it's true for a lot of other belief systems. This particular time, and we're coming up to Halloween, remember. So this particular time means that the veil is the thinnest. The veil is the thinnest. So I'm also been doing a lot of house cleansing and personal cleansings. So if you've been feeling like your house is a little bit dirty, time to get some nice smudging done, either using white, and believe it or not, the Buddhists allow I use black candles, a deep indigo color, and I've used them and they were so fantastic for cleaning, I cannot tell you. And amber. Amber is a fabulous stone or crystal or incense to also be using for cleansing. So we've got a few messages about bringing together, but there's also some messages about the veil being at the thinnest. And this also means we're going to get an opportunity for a lot of messages coming through. Okay, so we've got the 6, and then lovely, and we've got a lot of 6s now. We've got the 6 of Earth as well. So we've got the 6 of Pentacles and we've got the 6 of Earth, and we've got the 5 of Pentacles as the background and the 5 of Earth and the 6 of Earth. So we've got a little progression happening here, and we've got double 6s. 6s are all about love and building and transformation and feeling good about that. It's also about bringing two parts of you together. So I think that's really lovely. Another message, can you believe it? Heaven and earth. So I told you the veil was at the slimmest. It is now. So expect to get a lot of messages from your guides. Great time to bring your guides in. Great time to be meditating to get the updates. Oh, and now we've got another 5, and this. Oh, the cards are really fabulous. And this is another 5, and this, of course, is the 5 of fire. So things are a bit fiery. So there is the opportunity, and this is a right royal punch-up, basically. So there is the opportunity for there to be sparks flying and for there to be these points, because Mercury is also being triggered by Uranus. It's these points of flare-ups. Now, these are not long-lasting. These are these little annoyances that really fly up within you, and are going to fly up within other people. And again, it's just another trigger point. So you need just to be aware of that, if that's in your behavior or in other people's behavior. But remember, 5 is a change card. A charge card in this instance, but a change card. So that's 2 5s and 2 6s. And that's really interesting because we're looking at a progression, but we're also looking at this being a really clear message that it is time for you to bring elements of you together and time to make things cohesive. Look at that. So now we've got a 2. Look, and can you see the 2? Look at this. Again, it's the 2 of air. So again, it's a little bit of yin-yang, whereas the 6 has got all of the colours coming in. Can you see all those colours coming in the 6? And it's got there the chakra points and the rainbow. Chakra points and chakra colours are the rainbow, the same colour. Whereas this 2 does not. So again, what it's looking at with the 2, and I'll just show you this because this is 11, which is also a 2, is that we've got a duality. We've got a duality that we need to deal with. So there's something, and look at, you can't make this stuff up. The card underneath the 5 for the environment was union. So there's something within you that is not coming together, and so I have it's being fractured. So what's happening is, rather than you having all of those elements of you and uniting them, there's parts of you that you're just not accepting, that you're just not comfortable with. We've got to get rid of this sense of perfection. It's just absolute bullshit. We are human. We are having a human experience. And a human experience is all about being fallible, making mistakes, learning and growing. So take this whole pressure off you as being a wonderful, perfect being as your aspiration. No, you're here now. Love all of these imperfections. I mean, I paint. One of the most beautiful things someone said to me about painting, and it's quite true, that in a painting, often what we choose to do is we choose which of the mistakes or errors we leave in the painting, because this is often the anchor point that draws everything in, but also makes the painting far more interesting, because there's something about it that's a little bit, it stops it from being too plastic, too perfect, and then it brings the eye in. So it's a very interesting concept to think about. Okay. Oh, I'm loving it. Okay. One last 10 of water. We've had so many tens of water. This has got to do with some emotional baggage that we're just either got to release, or the word I'm getting is actually we've got to embrace. We've got to accept that this thing is within us, that's part of us, that's shaped us, and we've just got to accept it. And once you accept it, it stops being demonized and it starts to be more acceptable. And I think that's really, really lovely. Oh, look, there we are. See, 5, 6, 7. The hero, the last card, the hero. Look at that card. Look how fantastic. It's strong, it's centered, it's got the circle, it's lit, it's unified, it's all together. Okay. So that's what those cards are saying, and I think it's wonderful. There's something about our imperfections that we need to accept and bring into being and unite, because there's something about how we're presenting ourselves to the world in terms of identity, or perceiving ourselves in terms of identity, and understanding ourselves in terms of identity, which is holding us back, which is blocking our success. And it's got to do with us not really wanting to accept a great deal about who we are. And I think that's what we've got to do. And I love these. Look at these two. Look at them. They're beautiful. They're whole. They're together. They're not perfect, but they look so sensationally together. Oh, so beautiful. God, I love these cards when they just give me what I want. Love the fact that the hero came out. Okay, I was going to use the good tarot, and they've just said no, so I'm not going to do the good tarot. I'm just going to do, okay. So the underlying card we've got is the 8 of Earth, growth. Look at that. It's a time for us to grow, and you can't grow if you are denying a part of you. You just can't grow. And one more card that I just have to bring up, mind and body. So look at all of this that we're being asked to do. Unify, unify, unify. Bring something out of the dark, something that we've been shoving down within us, into the light, so that we can see it and that we can understand it, and we don't have to be afraid of it anymore. The veil is at its slimmest, so we're going to have these aspects, and a great time for messages to be coming through, and it's a great time for personal growth. Embrace who you are. Loving and embracing and accepting who you are is the greatest form of healing. It's the greatest form of growth. It's the greatest form of expansion. and now is the time to bring it all together and take it forward. Okay, I just really felt I had to give you that message. I think it works for work. I think it works for personal. Whatever you're dealing with now is the time to integrate them. Okay, bye-bye. Take care. If you need me, you know where to find me. All right.